Hi, I'm Thomas D, broadcast journalist from Gasworld. I've been joined by Kevin Lynch, who chaired our first session here in Houston this morning. Kevin, could you give us a quick recap of this morning's sessions and what was said and what was revealed?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. Yeah, I think this morning's session was an interesting overview of the supply-demand projections for the coming 5 years and a recap of the impact of COVID on the helium markets. I think those were the primary things that we've talked about this morning. And I'd say, what everybody's interested in is what's going on with sourcing. These helium projects take a very long time to come on stream. There are 2 major projects yet to be brought on stream in Russia. We're anticipating that to happen starting probably Q1, maybe Q2. Possibility of delay because there always is. There's a lot of excitement about that. That is going to shift the helium market from a shortage into an oversupply situation. So that will change some of the pricing dynamics and some of the concerns about supply chain, supply demand. I think probably the biggest impact that we're seeing from COVID, number one, there was some demand destruction, particularly early on in the early part of COVID, in the early to mid 2000 timeframe. That's largely recovered, and now what we're seeing in helium, just as we are in many other aspects of the economy, is supply chain disruptions, extended shipping times, ships not being able to get to port, not being able to load containers. In the industrial gases industry, helium is one of the very few truly global products. So the inability for ships to be able to pick up cargo and move it around is having a major impact on our ability to continue supply. It's stretched ISO container fleets, and it's got customers really concerned about where's my helium, and is it gonna blow a valve, and is it gonna blow up into the sky? So that's a big factor, and that's actually one of the reasons why they are using monitors from my company, which is Anova, because they can track where their helium is, what's the condition of the helium in the tank, what's the pressure. If they're getting into trouble, then maybe there's something they can do to save that load.
And this morning we also saw quite a big announcement from Air Products. Do you have a take on that?
Well, Air Products announced a couple of things. A couple of things relative to some sources that are coming on stream, one in Qatar, and some other things that they're doing, which is pretty interesting. But I think the big thing they talked about was this salt dome storage unit that they have now brought on, that they are bringing on stream. If it's not already on stream, I think it is on stream. But that is going to be a major factor in rebalancing the supply-demand situation. I think anybody who's familiar with the helium markets understands that as the BLM system is ramping down, we're losing that ability to turn plants up and down. All the other sources in the world are basically third-party purchases, and it's a take-or-pay arrangement, and they're going to give you helium whether you want it or not. It used to be the BLM could turn their plants up and down, but that's not really happening anymore. So the only alternative now is companies like Air Products are going to have to buy helium from third parties, but Air Products in particular will now be able to inject that into the ground and save it for later, which is, in the short term, the helium market will always be subject to ups and downs, supply interruptions, shortages. That will enable Air Products uniquely at this point probably to ride out those dips in supply and really strengthen their position. I mean, I assume I know Air Liquide had something similar in Europe. I haven't really kept up on how that's working, but I think this is something that all of the companies are going to be trying to get access to or build for themselves.
For sure, and sort of away from today's first session, what do you make of the whole event so far?
I thought it was great. I mean, for one thing, it's the first live event that Gasworld has done of any kind since COVID started. So, and these are the premier events in the industrial gases industry to bring people together. Number two, the helium business is a very small community. A lot of people have been in this business for 15, 20 years or more. Many of us have worked together. Many of us have worked in competitive situations. We partnered. So it's kind of a reunion, and there's been a lot of enthusiasm about getting people back together for it. Yeah.
And we've got another full agenda tomorrow. Is there anything you're looking forward to tomorrow?
Well, unfortunately, I have been called away on business, so I'm not going to see much of tomorrow, so no.
Oh, well, there you go, Kevin. Thanks very much for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.